Good evening, everyone. My name is Aradhana Singh, and I'm physics faculty at Sparkle. Okay. Uh, I welcome you all to the master class of physics for MYP. It's not a regular session that we conduct usually at Sparkle, like a concept session. In today's session, we are going to, understand how smart working towards the preparation of the exam for MYP will help a lot to the students than just studying hard, right? Do you understand the difference between studying hard and studying smart? Is it? So to get a maximum grade, you don't need to know everything. You need to know what is required for the exam or for the e-assessment of physics, right? How many of you have started feeling the exam vibes? Are you ready for the exam? If I ask, no? Okay, let me share a poll with you. Just give me a moment. Let me first share the screen. Wait. Can you see the screen? Megha, can you tell me if the screen is visible to you?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, let me share a poll with you to know how many of you are actually exam ready. Give me a moment. Can you see the poll? Please go ahead. Are you feeling ready for the exam? 83% no. Only 17% yes, I'm ready. Okay, I'm happy that there is no one who is not aware of the exam. Is it? Do you know when is the big day? Maika, do you know when is the big day?
14th May.
14th May. Yes, exactly. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm here to help you. I would like to handle all your doubts. Okay. At the end, we will have a question answer session. And let's start with the overview of this masterclass, what we are going to learn in this masterclass of MYP physics, right? So first we will discuss the assessment criterion, and then we'll work upon the e-assessment blueprint. Also, we will discuss what are the topics which carry highest value. And at the end, we will work upon the revision checklist, right? Yeah, here we are. So we all are aware that there are 4 assessment criterion, criteria A, B, C, and D, and all equally carries 8 maximum grade, right? The first criteria is all about knowing and understanding. So the scientific concept which we learn, how much we have understood the concept, related to that, the questions will be asked in the actual exam, right? In criteria B, the questions will be more towards inquiry and designing. What is designing we are talking about? There will be some situation provided to you. You have to carefully read the situation which is provided in the exam question, and then we have to think about what could be a good question which we can investigate, and how to investigate by designing a suitable hypothesis and method of inquiry or method of investigation. Make sense to you? Right? In criteria, see what we are going to get, what type of question we are going to get. It will be related to processing of the data and evaluation of the data. So to process the data, we need to first get the data. And how we will get the data? By the experimentation. So you do not need to conduct actual experiment. Some sort of data will be provided to you in the question, and you have to process that data. What does that mean? Processing of the data. Do you know how to arrange the data, guys? Anyone?
It should be from ascending order to increasing.
Yes. And when we are making the table, what should be the specific information which must be included in the table?
You need to always include all the units.
Very good.
And ideally also show design the table in a way you show for multiple trials.
Yes. Unit of what? You told me very well that we should write the unit of what?
Measurement.
Measurement of what?
The measurement of your variables. So.
Exactly. The parameters which we set as IV and DV, those should be written clearly as a heading on the top of the table along with your SI unit, right? And the very first column should be serial number and then the IV and then DV, right? So what is your understanding? What you are going to arrange in ascending order, IV or DV? Apsara, would you like to answer?
You'd arrange the IV in ascending order.
IV, exactly. Very good. Well done. So we need to arrange IV in ascending order, and accordingly we will check the variation in DV, whether it is increasing with respect to IV or decreasing with respect to IV, and that will give us a clear understanding about the pattern of the data. Make sense to you? So what trend we can get from the data, that will be analyzed only after a good arrangement of the data in the tabular form. That is the very first step towards the processing of data. And then for evaluation, we need to get insight from the graph. So if data is arranged in a better way or in a standard way, only then we'll be able to plot the data to get a graph, and then we can analyze the graph for the trend which is data is showing, and then we can conclude the result. Any doubt so far? Shall we move ahead?
Yes.
And then we have the last criteria, criteria D. It is about the reflection of the scientific concept on the global context. So impact of science on the global situation or global in the global context related to this situation, we will get some question. And how much marks allocated to respective criterion, that we can see in the next slide. Now this is the blueprint of the e-assessment. The very first criteria, criteria A, that has maximum total 25 marks. And criteria B and C, including all the data related and processing type of question, that has 50% marks maximum. And criteria D, it is having maximum 25 marks. So total 100 marks questions you are going to get in the final exam. And how much time you have to handle these questions? 2 hours. So for one question, how much time you are getting? 1.2 minutes?
Yeah.
Yes or no? So now you need to be very, very specific while going to answer the question, that how much mark is allocated to a given question and how much time you need to spend, so that you can reach to the last question and you can manage the time effectively to answer all the question asked in the question paper. So that is a thumb rule, that you do not require to spend more than 1.2 minutes as an average for 1 mark question. Is it? If it is a 5-mark question, then how much time you need to spend as an average? Anyone? For a 5 marks question, as an average, how much time you are expected to spend?
3 or 4 minutes.
6 minutes. Okay, so the average is 1 mark, 1.2 minutes. So for 5 marks, you need to spend 6 minutes only. There may be some questions where you need to spend more time, and after spending 5 minutes, 6 minutes for 5-marker question, if you're not getting the answer, my advice is to go ahead, just mark that question as unattempted and save some time at the end so that you can return back to that question, read it again, and then try to handle that question. But if you spend more than 10 minutes, 15 minutes for a 5-marker question, what will happen? There may be a situation that the last question, which is quite easy peasy question, and you do not have time to touch that question, and you will feel regret at the end of the exam. Is it? Do you understand? Now I want to know which criteria question do you like the most? I'm sharing a poll with you guys. Okay. And I want to check your understanding, that which criteria question do you like the most, or which actually, uh, help you to develop the curiosity. There is a poll. Which criteria questions spark your curiosity the most? Very nice. Very good. So 14% for criteria A, 57% for criteria B, 29% for C, and same for D. So majority is towards criteria B. Why you feel criteria B, and what makes you, handle these criteria B type questions in a better way or in an effective way? Anyone want to answer? Maika, would you like to answer?
Can you repeat your question?
Why criteria B type questions is most suitable to develop the curiosity for you?
Because it asks to make an investigation and it has many steps to write in it.
Do you find comfortable to handle these kind of questions, data type questions?
Yeah.
Very good. Apsara, what is your opinion about it? Which criteria-based question do you like?
I like criteria D most
Very
because
good.
I like writing about and understanding the applications of science in like the
Yes,
real world and seeing how it comes to light, I guess.
exactly. Exactly. Very nice. Most of the students find to handle criteria D type questions difficult because, if you can think in that situation and you can relate that situation to you, what is provided in the question, things will be easy to handle criteria D type question, right? It doesn't ask for you to write any mathematical equation. It doesn't ask you to solve any numerical problem. It is just how you are able to relate the scientific concept on a global situation, is it? So it is just a perspective where you are comfortable, is it? Okay, let's move ahead. Let's see what are the question style which we are going to get in the final exam. Multiple choice question, a few, very few multiple choice question you will get, right? And it will be part of a big question. Some part, one or two sub part of that question will be related to multiple choice. Sometimes it is not directly multiple choice. It is like drag and drop type questions also. Sometimes it is match the correct option type question. Okay. And then we have a short answer type question. It is again the sub part of a big question. Then data analysis question. Which criteria this question relates to? Data analysis.
C and B.
C and B, exactly. Either it is asking to arrange the data or it is asking to plot the best fit graph and conclude what is the trend of the data, right? So it is directly related to B and C. And then global context. It is what we were talking just 1 minute back. Criteria D type question. What is your reflection of a particular situation in the global context that is very, um, very relatable to a particular skill, like how reflective you are in order to write a paragraph on a global context. So it is majorly testing your communication skill, and that communication should not be a plain philosophical communication. That communication should be related to the scientific uh, knowledge or scientific principle. Okay, so you are relating the scientific uh, context to a global situation by writing a paragraph, and majorly it is related to the um, economical perspective, political perspective, social perspective, ethical perspective. So it is testing your communication skill and reflection skill. Okay, let's move ahead to check what are the topics which hide the maximum marks. Kinematics. What in kinematics? Has anyone practiced the past year questions earlier? And has anyone noticed that from the kinematics chapters, what are the particular topics which carry the most of the weightage?
But
Work energy. Yes, yes, please go ahead.
numerical.
Numericals, majorly related to energy transfer, kinetic to potential, potential to kinetic, or any other form of energy is transferred into other form of energy, right? So majorly, if you generalize, you can say that it is related to mechanical energy problems, which will include the energy transform. Okay, or it is asking to calculate the work done or some form of energy numerically, right? Formula sheet is already provided in your question, so you can easily handle this kind of question. What is required? Yes, please go ahead.
And in a few applications for with regards to heat, also kinematics is very prominent.
Yes, that is again the energy transfer. A certain form of energy is transferred into some other form of energy. So again, it is falling broadly in energy transform, isn't?
Yes.
Yeah. Here in kinematics, one very important part which we neglect sometime, that is the graph analysis. There are two types of specific graph related questions which are the part of MYP physics syllabus, and that is distance time graph and velocity time graph. Okay. If you are comfortable to analyze these two types of graph, distance time and velocity time, you will be easily able to handle criteria A type question as well as criteria C type question, where data is given to you and you have to get an insight from the graph. What is the trend which is being shown in the graph? Are you getting my point? Let's take an example. Let's say if it is a velocity time graph and you have to calculate the displacement covered. Typical questions, do you know what type of question we usually see in the exam? Braking distance type question. Car is moving with certain velocity from this time to this time. If the graph is given to you, velocity time graph, and you have to calculate that when car stopped, how much distance the car has covered. Is it? So if you are aware with the conceptual understanding that area under the velocity time graph will give you this information. What information? Anyone can answer. What information we get from the area under velocity time graph, guys?
Displacement.
Exactly, displacement. So here it is not a direct knowledge based question. Here you have to apply the knowledge on a given situation. Is it? So these kind of questions students find a bit tricky, but it is not tricky. Only 2-3 concepts you have to keep in your mind and it will be easy peasy kind of question. Okay, let's move ahead to the next high yield topic, that is astrophysics. Hardly two formulas we have from this chapter, and that formula is given in the formula booklet. In astrophysics, it is majorly concept based question. Only one formula, if I tell you, that is orbital speed is equal to 2 pi r upon time period. Most of the questions are framed around this formula. Either orbital speed of the planet is given to you, or some heavenly body's orbital speed is given to you, orbital radius is given to you, and you have to calculate the time period. Or time period is given to you. For example, the time period of moon around the earth is given to you, and you have to calculate the orbital speed. So three variables we have in this formula: orbital velocity, time period, and the orbital radius. Okay, formula is already in the formula sheet. Only thing you need to know how to relate this formula and how to use this formula as per the given situation in the question. Make sense to you? Is it? Other formulas in this astrophysics chapter are not directly part of your syllabus, like gravitational force. That is related only with the conceptual understanding that if masses are far away, the gravitational force will decrease. If they are close, the force will increase. So that is just a conceptual understanding. Make sense? So problem solving type questions you will not get from this chapter, but conceptual questions you will get from this chapter. Now come to electricity and magnetism. This is a quite scoring topic. In year 23 or 24, there were two big questions related to electricity and magnetism. One was of 17 marks and other was of 13 marks. So 17 plus 13, it was a 30 marks direct questions were given from this electricity and magnetism topic. So you can understand that how scoring this chapter is. Is it? Again, the formulas are given to you. Concept is not that difficult to understand. You have enough time. If you start from today, then also you have good 1 month time. You can revise it, right? Atomic physics and radiation. Here, the equation based questions may trouble you sometime, but again, you need to understand that how to balance the equations, how to balance atomic number from left hand side and right hand side, and how to balance the mass number from left and right hand side. Then it will be easy. Okay. Any doubts so far?
No.
Shall we? Okay, let's move ahead. This is just an example of kinematics formulas. Okay. These formulas will be provided to you in the question paper on the initial sheets. Okay, let's work upon the knowledge and understanding criteria A in detail. What we need to take care of it on these kind of situation where the question is related to the recalling of the fact. For a conceptual question, you need to answer using the scientific principle. And also it is important that you have to use the correct terminology. Let's say if the question is asking that if voltage is increasing, then current will change at a constant temperature, right? So if the question is not specifically saying that what is the relation between voltage and current at a constant temperature, what is your understanding? How the current will change when the voltage is increasing? Anyone can answer. Mm-hmm. Raika, can you hear me? Maika, what is the relation between voltage and current when temperature is constant?
Ma'am, if the voltage increases, the current decreases.
Current decreases or increases? V is directly proportional to I.
Sorry,
Very good. Current will increase. So if I ask the scientific principle for it, let's say the question is framed in a way that voltage affects the current at a constant temperature in a conductor. What is the scientific principle behind it? Anyone can recall the scientific principle for this situation? Deshita, Nirvan, Apsara, would you like to answer?
Mom, can you repeat the question?
If the situation is given in a way like voltage is affecting the current at a constant temperature in a conductor, what is the scientific principle behind it? Chaya has raised hand.
So they're directly proportional according to Ohm's law.
Very good. Very good. So sometime you can get to recall the scientific concept to handle the criteria A type question. Again, it is a knowledge and understanding based question. It is not asking you to calculate something. It is not asking you to investigate the relation between voltage and current. What it is asking? It is asking to recall the understanding which you have in your mind about a conductor, how voltage is changing the current. And that is based on the Ohm's law. Make sense? So if it is a 2-marker question, then 1 mark you will directly get by writing the correct scientific principle that it is based on Ohm's law, right? And if it is further asking something relatable, then you can answer and then you can get the other mark point for that. Okay. Command terms also plays very important role, that how much you need to write. If the question is asking to state the law of, simply the Ohm's law, state the Ohm's law, or state the quantity which you can get by the slope of distance and time. Anyone can answer. Shall I repeat? State the quantity which you will get from the slope of distance and time graph. What is that quantity?
Miss speed.
Speed. Very good.
Yeah.
So here, Nirvan, you understand that what question is asking,
Yeah.
right? So the command term plays a very important role, that you don't need to explain it. Simply you have to write a one word, that is speed. Makes sense? Outline. If the command term is saying outline, it means you have to give a general summary related to that. For example, if the situation is given like force acting on a body is increasing and the body is moving with a constant acceleration, outline the final velocity of the object. Just think about this situation. Force is increasing and body is accelerating. What will be the final velocity? Would it increase or decrease? What is the general summary for this? Mhm. Anyone would like to try? If body is accelerating and if there is net force which is increasing, what does that mean? The final velocity will increase. That is the general summary of this question. Okay? Describe. You have to simply write that what is happening if one is changing, then how the other parameter is changing. What is happening to the other parameter when one parameter is changing. Again, in the same example, if force is increasing and mass of the body is constant, then what will happen to acceleration? It will increase or decrease? Nirvan, would you like to answer?
Miss, could you repeat the question once?
If force is increasing on a body, then what will happen to the acceleration?
Acceleration will also increase.
Very good. So if the question is asking to describe the effect of force on the acceleration, then you have to write that how the acceleration is being affected by the increase of the force, right? Explain that you have to answer why and how. You have to answer with a reason, suitable reason. And I will appreciate if you write the scientific formula if you know while explaining something, right? So this is how, by knowing all these command terms and by knowing what and how much you have to write in criteria A type question, you can score good 25 marks, because maximum 25 marks question you will get from this particular criteria. Okay, let's move ahead. This is one example of criteria A type question. In formula booklet, you will get the formula for power, and that is power is equal to energy upon time. But this question is framed in a different way. It is not asking directly the formula usually you see for the power, right? Energy transferred is equal to power into distance, power upon distance. So you need to recollect your understanding or the knowledge which you have about the power. You need to look upon the formulas which is given in your question paper, and then you can relate that how power, time, and energy are related, and then rearrange according to the question asked to tick the correct option. Make sense? Also, the second question here, it is the atomic structure. In the core of the atom, we have nucleus, and the question is asking to drag the correct item as per the details given here. The first one is which wave is produced from the nucleus of an atom, and the options are cosmic ray, X-ray, ultrasound wave, and gamma ray. Right? Again, you have to recall the concept here. Only then you'll be able to handle this question. So it is not a calculation type question. It is just a knowledge and understanding type question. Now come to criteria B. So planning and investigation. Question will be asking a focused research question, a clear and focused research question. What specific two things required while you're writing a research question? Which two variable mandatory should be there in a research question out of IV, DV, and CV?
IV and DB.
IV and DV, exactly. So what is affecting which parameter or which variable? That should be clearly mentioned in the research question, and a good research question can also include the DV. If the variation between IV and DV is very much depending on the control variable. For example, if voltage is changing, the current will change at a constant temperature. So here temperature is a control variable, right? But it is mandatorily affecting the voltage and current in a conductor. So a research question can also include the control variable if it is required. Okay, but in standard situation, we need to mandatorily include IV and DV only. Are you getting me? Any doubt to anyone? No? Let's move ahead then. Then we need to develop a testable hypothesis. There is a format for hypothesis that we will discuss. And then we can design a valid and logical method, how we are going to proceed to investigate. Okay. Let's look at this point. Let's say you have clearly written the focus research question, including IV and DV, and you have written a testable hypothesis that if this variable will change, this variable will also change because there is a dependency of one on the other, right? Then we have to design a well-structured method, and method should not be a hypothetical method. It should be a repeatable method. It means if someone, a third person who is going through the method or procedure which you have written, the person can clearly replicate your investigation, right? If it is not repeatable or replicatable, then your method is not good. It's not a good method. Make sense?
Could you show any examples of a good method?
Method. Okay. Let's take an example of let's go with the Ohm's law. Your control variable is temperature here, and you want to see the effect on current in the conductor based on the voltage. So what are the equipments you need to conduct an experiment so that you can investigate the effect of voltage on current at a constant temperature, right? So first you will mention that what are the equipments you need. You will write the list of equipment that you need: a battery, you need a connecting wires, you need a resistor, you need voltmeter and ammeter, right? So these are your equipments or apparatus which is required to proceed the investigation, right? Now come to the method part. So very first method will be that you are connecting all these components, circuit components in series. That is the very first step. In the second step, what you will do? You will change the voltage. And in third step, what you will measure by changing the voltage? Apsara? By changing the voltage, what you will measure?
By changing the voltage, you measure
Current.
current. Yeah.
Current. Yes, exactly. So third step will be measuring the current. And where you will measure the current? Where it is displaying? In the ammeter. Okay. So the variation of voltage you will observe in voltmeter. And in the third step, in the ammeter, you will measure the current and you will note down the data that how much current is changing, right? 3 steps are clear. Now in the fourth step, what you will do? You will repeat it for a fixed value of voltage in the second trial. So at least 3 trials is suggested for the students so that their data become accurate and it is a reliable data. You can say that data is reliable because for one set of voltage, you have taken at least 3 trials of the current. Okay, so you can repeat this for a fixed value of voltage. So that will be your fourth step, that the current will should has been measured for at least 3 trials or 5 trials. Now the fifth step, what will be the fifth step? You are increasing the voltage. So for one value of voltage, you have measured the current in 3 trials. Now in the fourth step, you will change the voltage. You will increase the voltage. And then you can say that after this, you can repeat the step 3 and 4. So any third person, if going through these 5 steps, would be very well able to repeat the experiment for verification or for his or her own understanding. Is it clear, Apsara?
Yeah.
Good. So now this is the research question. It is a format which you can follow. How does independent variable affecting the dependent variable? Again, if required, you can include the control variable. If not required, you can skip it. Now, what is IB? What is DB? What is CV? What you are changing is your independent variable. What you are measuring is dependent. And what you are keeping constant or what you are controlling, that will be the control variable. Hypothesis is again having a fixed format. If IB is changing, then DB will change because this is the reason, the scientific reason. Let me show you with an example. Here it is. If force is increasing, then acceleration will increase because large force produces a greater change in velocity per unit time. And then you can, for better clarity, you can write the relation between force and acceleration. F is equal to ma. Are you getting it? Usually the hypothesis writing part includes 2 or 3 marks. So if you are following the correct format, you can easily score 3 marks for this particular part, right? Where you need to emphasize while writing the hypothesis, scientific reasoning. It should not be a random guess that you are changing the independent variable and the dependent variable will change because of any random guess or random reason. No, it should be a scientific reason. Let's go ahead to the method. Step by step, it should be clear and logical that we have discussed. Detailed enough to replicate. Again, it should be replicatable, right? Or reproducible. And what should a good method include? Material that we had discussed for Ohm's law setup. Procedure, what you are measuring in step 4, 3 and 4. And repeating the number of trials in step 5 that we discussed. That for 1 voltage, we need to repeat the data for current, at least 3 trials. Also, one most important thing, when we are writing the step, we should number it. Step 1, step 2, step 3, right? That is a good practice to write the steps. The common mistake, vague research question. Examiner is not able to identify that what is actually IV, what is DV, because your statement having more than two variables, right? Always remember that research questions should not include more than two variables. Two variables should be identified as one is IV and other is DV, not more than that. You cannot write that if forces acting on the vehicles can change the velocity. Forces, vehicles. No, it should be clear. Chaya, you have raised hand. Please go ahead.
So imagine you put the IV and DV. Could you add a variable like keeping the temperature constant, like adding
Yes. Yes, these are two standard way to write a good research question. Control variables should be included when you are sure that the IV and DV are very much affected if control variable is not there. For example, in Ohm's law, if temperature is not controlled or not fixed, there is no proportionality relation between voltage and current. Voltage will never be directly proportional to current if temperature is not constant, right? So if you are going to investigate a relation between voltage and current, you need to mandatorily fix the temperature at a constant value. So in this particular situation, when IV and DV may affect with the temperature, then you can put the temperature, which is a control variable, in the research question. That how does change in voltage affect the current in a conductor at a fixed temperature? Here it is requirement to put the dependent variable in the research question because it is directly affecting both IV and DV. Make sense to you, Chaya?
Yes, thank you.
Right. But if you are investigating force versus acceleration relation, then it is not mandatory because force is not directly depending on any external parameter and acceleration is also not directly depending on any external parameter. So you can simply write that how does change in force affect the acceleration of a body or of a fixed mass body also you can write. That is also a good research question. Okay. Missing variables. Your research question should not miss the IV and DV. Hypothesis without reasoning is meaningless. Too short method. You are skipping the steps and directly jumping to the conclusion in the method. That is also not a good uh, way of writing the method. No control variables. There
How many
should be a.
should a method usually be? Like around how many?
Please come again, Chaya.
How many steps should a method usually be?
It depends on your investigation. So there is no fixed step which I can count and tell you that 5 step or 6 step. It depends on that what you are going to investigate. So it is a very subjective matter. Okay, but make sure that you have to keep in your mind a fixed setup that how you will set the apparatus, how you will make the setup of the apparatus with which you are going to investigate the variables, right? So very first step should be how you are setting the apparatus and then how you are changing the independent variable and how you are measuring it. So let's say if you're saying that you are changing the force, then how you're measuring it, that should be written in the same line. Make sense? And if in the next step you're writing that you are going to, after changing the force, you have to now measure the acceleration, then in the same line, you need to write that what is the tool for measuring the acceleration. Measuring the acceleration with this. Okay. So either you're using some app to measure the acceleration or you're using some motion sensor to measure the acceleration, that you need to mention in that particular step. Okay. If repetition is not possible with your methods, again, it is not a good method. It should be reproducible. That is what I'm emphasizing again and again. Using vague terms like some, a bit, no, that is not allowed. This is a typical criteria B type question. In this syringe, mass is being added to compress the air which is in this syringe or in this tube. So pressure is being increased by adding mass, and effect on the volume is being investigated. Important thing is that 3 variables already mentioned in the first line of the question: the pressure, volume, and temperature of a gas. It is related, right? So temperature is being fixed, pressure is being increased, and effect on the volume is being investigated, right? By reading the question at least 2 times, you can very well be assured that which one you are taking as a control variable, which one you are taking as IV, and which one you are taking as DV. Okay, do not rush to read the question, because most of the information is already provided to you in the platter in the form of the paragraph of the question. Okay, so my advice is read the question at least 2 times and write it somewhere that this one is IV, this one is DV, this one is CV, so that you can proceed ahead. Now criteria C, processing and evaluating. Now you have collected the data in criteria B, right? You have to analyze and process the data. You should present the data clearly in a tabular form and also in ascending order of IV. Analyze the pattern. How you will analyze the pattern? By plotting the graph. Evaluating the result. How you will evaluate? By taking the insight from the trend which you see after plotting the graph. What is the trend? Is it a linear trend? It is a curved trend, or it is something else? So the trend of data you can get after plotting it in the graph. Suggest improvements. This is important point. Most of the students stuck. What could be the possible suggestion? Let's say it is a straight graph between force and acceleration. And now you know that force is directly proportional to acceleration. But when you plot the graph, you find that all the data points are not lying on the straight line. There is one data point which is outlier. So how you'll explain that outlier? Anyone? Why there is outlier? What is the possibility?
You could say you measured it incorrectly, or
Yes. Can we name it random error or systematic error something?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can
That
say
would be better. Yes. It could be a random error, right? And what could be the improvement? The safe way to write the improvement is to say that by using a digital device. Let's say in voltage and current measurement, you are using analog voltmeter and ammeter. So to improve the accuracy of the data, you can straight say that data can be improved if the ammeter is a digital ammeter and voltmeter is a digital voltmeter, right? Similarly, for measuring the force or acceleration or whatever variable you have in your investigation, you can say that if the measuring tool is a digital tool, then it can improve the accuracy of the data, right? What examiner look for? Tables and graphs. This is a very important step in investigation. Clear pattern and trend. Scientific explanation, valid conclusion, and thoughtful evaluation and improvement. All these points we have already discussed. Data presentation. In the very initial discussion we had worked upon it, that clear heading should be there when we write the data in a tabular form. Unit should be included. Unit means SI unit. And data should be organized in ascending order neatly. When you are going to plot the graph should be a correct type graph. If it is a linear graph, it should look linear, right? Labeled axis, units included, and the title. X-axis, Y-axis should be properly labeled. Scale should be taken properly. It should not be too short or it should not be too large so that data do not fit on the page. So it should be properly taken. Best fit line is quite important in IB curriculum. Anyone would like to explain what is the best fit line? Mhm.
Miss,
What is a best fit graph? What is your understanding?
the best fit line is like a line you draw as like to connect all of the points you have on it as like an average of all of them.
Would you like to connect dot to dot?
Like you don't connect dot to dot, but it's like say if all the dots are closest together, that's why you keep the line along that direction. And the best fit line could also help you predict more points in the graph
Yes,
and identify a relationship between the variables.
exactly. Very good, Apsara. It should be a smooth curve or smooth line. It should not be a dot to dot connected line. A smooth line or smooth curve, which include most of the data points on that line, curved line. Is it? That is the best fit graph. And if there is an outlier, do not hesitate to make that outlier in your graph. Let it be there. And later on in conclusion or in improvement parts, you can explain that why there is outlier and how you can improve the data measurement so that you do not get an outlier, right? So it is a good thing to explain the outlier rather than hiding the outlier. Okay, so all these things we have already discussed. Ignoring anomalies, no, this is a mistake. We should not ignore the anomalies. Anomalies or outliers should be very much there in the graph if it is there. And we should have a logic to explain the outliers. See, this is typical criteria C type question where you have the data points given in the question itself, and it is asking to create a new table. So it is a new table. This format is given to you in the question paper, and you have to arrange the data the way we had discussed, right? Apsara, you have some question?
Yeah, Miss.
You have,
So just to clarify though, you said we have to include the anomalies.
yeah.
But if for average calculations, you exclude them, right? Then that's fine.
Yes, yes. For average calculation, you can exclude, but on the graph, you should let it be.
Got it.
Got it? Yes. Now come to criteria D, reflecting on the impact of science. So you need to explain how the science or scientific principle or scientific investigations, how they are affecting the real world, whether they are affecting the environment or the real world positively or negatively. That is something what you have to analyze and you need to communicate by putting some logic or reasoning. Okay. Typical D type questions uh, should include a balanced reasoning and argument, right? You need to clearly discuss in not in terms of paragraph, I will suggest. Avoid writing a big paragraph while communicating for impact of science. I will suggest write in pointers. If you have only 3 points, not an issue. Write in 3 pointers only rather than writing a big paragraph. An examiner has to put effort to find a correct term, correct scientific term. Okay, that will not help you to get good score. Are you getting my point? Now, these are the types of impact related to which you can explain, like environmental impact, ethical impact, social impact, and economical impact, right? So how any scientific situation can impact the environment, like whether it is polluting the water, air, or soil, or it is contributing in depletion of the resources, or it is impacting the biodiversity or climate change, or it is producing more waste, right? So these are certain aspects related to which we can get the situation and we can communicate our understanding towards that. Ethical impact, if something, let's say there is a very new radioactive material is invented to treat the cancer and it is being tested on animals. So is it ethical to test that particular product, radioactive product, on animals? Human experimentation, data privacy, typical AI or medical data related questions. Is it ethical to take the consent from the public if it is concern of their safety? In that situation, you need to think and write the answer. Then social impact, public health, lifestyle change, education and awareness, and then economic. You will see all or some of these 4 aspects related question in criteria D. Whether the technology is too much costly, job creation, is it creating job or new industry, or it is taking existing jobs like AI? It is a new technology, but people fear that it can take their job, right? Economic growth, is it contributing to the growth of the country? Accessibility and affordability, is it accessible to all people, or only rich people, or only poor people, right? So these are the certain aspects you can think, and accordingly you can write the answer. And this is a typical criteria D type sample question, right? Related to data safety and privacy of the people. Any doubts so far? Okay, all these aspects we have already discussed. These are the core physics topics. You all have your syllabus, right? And you can just revisit the syllabus. What are the topics which are part of the specific chapters? And you can tick it that, yes, this chapter is done and this chapter is done. And this particular topic you are facing difficulty. That will help you to analyze that how much syllabus you have already covered and how much work you need to do still. Okay. Now, these are some strategy I would like to discuss with you. Timed practice. So I want you to go and download some past paper questions so that you can check the time management, whether you are able to handle all the questions from first to last in 2-hour time limit or not. Prefer to set a timer when you start handling a past paper question, and try to answer all the question in 1 hour 45 minutes so that you can save 15 minutes for revision. You should be familiar with the on screen situation. Okay. Any doubts so far? Any question, guys? Okay, let me check with the poll. Was the session helpful, guys?
Yes, miss.
Any doubt? Shall we close the meeting now? If you have any doubt, you can reach to me. Okay. You can drop a message on the Sparkle WhatsApp number, which is shared on the screen, right? And all the best, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.